How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. Now today we've got something a little bit special for you. It's some bonus content for the week. It's a massive compilation of some of the scariest video clips going round. So sit back, relax and enjoy. In 1561, something strange happened in the skies over Germany that has left a lot of historians mystified. This event was a mass sighting of unidentified flying objects over what is present-day Nuremberg. A part of the Holy Roman Empire back when the sighting took place, Nuremberg remains on the radar of UFO enthusiasts centuries later. It was daybreak on April 14. Early risers throughout the city were witnesses to terrifying visions over the sun. First, it took the form of blood-red coloured arcs peppered with black spheres blotting out the sun. What came next was said to be worse. A series of blood-red crosses appeared beside the black globes. The images in the sky all seemed to battle amongst themselves in a torturous upheaval as the people of the city looked on. Finally, the objects all appeared to burn out from exhaustion before falling in the sky with puffs of smoke. Naturally, the people of Nuremberg applied a Christian interpretation to the incident. Many saw the blood-red crosses mixed in with a scene of turmoil and destruction as a call to repentance. However, many other interpretations have been floated around since. Many people believed the globe-like balls mixed with fiery blood-red puffs of smoke were cannons from a nearby military exercise. Others believed that the people of the city were simply applying their overzealous religious beliefs to a particularly red sunrise. Some took it as a sign of an impending apocalypse. Curiously, 5 years later in Basel, Switzerland, another very similar sighting took place. Over the course of 3 days, on the 27th, 28th of July and again on the 7th of August, mysterious black shapes were spotted in the sky. First, it was reported that the sun lost its luster, before blood-red tears seemed to form in the sky. On the 7th of August, the black floating balls appeared as though they were embroiled in battle. Some of the balls turned a fiery red colour before extinguishing. Again, through a modern lens, this event can be interpreted a number of ways. The most common explanation is that overly religious witnesses expounded the sighting of a solar eclipse as apocalyptic. During the 16th century, throughout Europe, there was significant conflict between Catholic and Protestant factions during Reformation. It's possible villagers witnessed military conflict without realising what was happening. Still, there's no concrete evidence that explains what witnesses saw in both Switzerland and Germany all those years ago. Strange flying balls in the sky that appeared to be engrossed in battle certainly does pique one's interest, but ultimately these incidents still remain a complete mystery to this day. Broadcasting at a frequency of 4,625 kHz, an eerie radio station of unknown origin sends a mysterious code out into the airwaves. UVB 76 is a radio station in Russia that no one claims to run. It emits a mysterious buzzing at 25 tones per minute, around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The exact start date of the station is unknown, but many speculate that it began sometime in the early 1970s. Day after day, it sends cloaked messages intended for an audience that hides in the shadows. The station does occasionally break through with a series of nonsensical words uttered in Russian. In this video from Mr. Dr. Smith Jr., you can sample the bizarre and mysterious buzzing sound that is emitted from the so-called ghost station. People from all around the world tune in to try and make sense of the station, crack the code behind the mysterious messages it's sending, and anticipate what type of potential doom the mysterious messages could be conjuring up. Is it a communication method for spies, a calling card for a secret society, a hoax, or a dead man's switch for nuclear retaliation? Nobody's certain. To deepen the mystery, in September 2010, the broadcast broke its monotonous tone to play a short excerpt from Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake. Take a listen. The theories behind why this station exists are intriguing. A popular one is that the channel's used for Russian military communications. Under this theory, the buzzing sound is merely a placeholder until the channel's needed for more important communications. Another theory that's been thrown around is that the tower that emits the buzzing sound is connected to Russia's missile system. If the signal is interrupted as a result of a nuclear attack, an automatic nuclear retaliation will be triggered. But ultimately, the true nature of this radio broadcast is still unknown. However, when you're trying to sleep tonight, think about this. It's possible that an antique radio station built in the 1970s somewhere in Russia could malfunction and trigger a nuclear war at any given second. Sweet dreams. As the world celebrated the close of 2019, a call went out to the US Coast Guard from Bahamian authorities. A 29-foot Mako Cuddy cabin vessel carrying 20 people on holiday had disappeared while bobbing along in the waves over the Bermuda Triangle, on its way back to Lake Worth from Bimini. Rescuers searched an area covering 17,000 square miles for days, without turning up any evidence that a boat had been in the area at all. Significant resources were used during the search for the boat, including HC-144 Ocean Sentry aircrew from Miami and a C-130 Hercules aircrew from Clearwater. The US Air Force, Coast Guard, as well as the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and the Bahamas Air Sea Rescue Association and Patrick Air Force Base units were deployed in the search. Despite such a significant search and rescue contingent, no evidence was found on the whereabouts of the boat. Ultimately, on the Friday morning, after more than 84 hours, the search was called off. The fate of all 20 people on the vessel is now one more mystery that's been swallowed up by the Bermuda Triangle. The infamous history of the Bermuda Triangle, or the Devil's Triangle as it's sometimes referred to, began in the early 1950s, when several journalists reported strange disappearances in the area. The first noteworthy disappearance happened 5 years earlier on December 5th, 1945. Flight 19 consisted of 5 TBM Avenger bombers participating in an overwater navigation training exercise. All 14 airmen participating in the training disappeared without a trace. To make the event even more bizarre, a 13-man crew was dispatched from Naval Air Station Banana River to search for the missing Flight 19. The search party also mysteriously disappeared while looking for the original missing crew. An eerie message from the doomed Flight 19 was later released to the public. Over the radio, the flight leader was heard saying, "We're entering white water, nothing seems right. We don't know where we are, the water is green, no white." This was followed by radio silence. Over the years, more than 30 disappearances have occurred in this notorious stretch of water. Numerous explanations have been put forth trying to explain the bizarre occurrences. Everything from compass variations and dangerous currents to wild weather and human error have been suggested. It should be noted that the official word from the US Navy and US Coast Guard is that no supernatural activity is responsible for causing disasters and disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. Did Dr Mary Neal really go to heaven? An orthopedic spine surgeon, Neal certainly seems believable as a woman of science and logic. However, her claims require faith in the unknown if they are to be believed. The good doctor was kayaking while on holiday in Chile in 1999, when her kayak pinned her at the bottom of a waterfall for 12 full minutes. When medical aid arrived, the ice-cold body of the doctor had no heartbeat or breath. Ultimately, she was without oxygen for a total of 24 minutes. Amazingly, Dr. Neal was revived without any long-term damage to her brain or body. While she was unconscious, Dr. Neal claims that she arrived in a place full of structures where spirits roamed. Overjoyed to see her, these beings were focused on nurturing and protecting her. They informed her that she needed to return to her body because she had more work to do. This place was allegedly so comforting and magnificent that Dr. Neal protested returning back to the living. Finally, the beings gently guided her down the path to be reunited with her body. However, they delivered a message to her before she should go. The beings informed her that she would suffer the great tragedy of losing her eldest son. It was a piece of knowledge that Dr. Neal tried to shake off after she returned to her life. For a decade, she kept the secret to herself out of fear of upsetting her husband and children. However, she received a phone call 10 years after her spiritual experience in Chile, informing her that her son had been killed in a car accident caused by a distracted driver. Neal claims she received the news of her son's death the day she finished her memoir. While Arkansas may be known as the natural state, an alleged supernatural happening has drawn a lot of attention. The situation became so serious that the Arkansas National Guard was asked to step in to confirm whether or not the soil in a small town called Midway was being used as Satan's playsand. As summer 2018 drew to a close, a flaming sulfur-emitting hole appeared in the ground near the town of Midway, Arkansas. The 2-foot hole was shooting flames reaching 9 feet high at times. Residents reported sulfur odors as they watched the ground burn up in a perfectly circular shape. Early theories ranged from a deadly gas leak to a portal to hell. Local officials took a more tempered approach by declaring the spontaneous fire circle as definitely man-made. The most plausible explanation was that a person had simply dumped some paint thinner that eventually caught on fire. However, some oddities were discovered when the Arkansas National Guard unit was brought in to use specialized equipment to test the soil inside the hellhole. What the unit concluded was the hole contained high amounts of sulfur dioxide that would not be found in the ground under normal conditions. They also found that the hole went down more than 3 feet before making a sharp 45-degree turn. The mystery behind why the flaming hole of Midway was created was never solved. However, local enforcement officials are adamant that the hole was man-made. The official conclusion is that the hole was part of a prank. However, no pranksters have ever come forward to take credit for bringing hell to Arkansas. Chicago's Graceland Cemetery is home to one of the creepiest sculptures ever created. A bronze sculpture called Eternal Silence is an eerie work of art with a dark story behind it. Locals often refer to it simply as the Dexter Graves Statue of Death. In 1831, a man named Dexter Graves led 13 families on a voyage to settle Chicago. While Graves passed away in 1884, it would be 75 years before the statue that is forever associated with him would be created. In fact, Graceland Cemetery itself wasn't founded until 16 years after Graves passed away. So how did this settler come to be associated with Chicago's creepiest statue? Dexter had a son named Henry who left behind a sum of money totaling around $300,000 to create a statue in honor of his father. When Henry died in 1907, instructions were left to create a monument in Washington Park in honor of a racehorse named Ike Cook that was beloved by his father. However, the horse-inspired monument was never actually built. Curiously, the funds were redirected to a statue built by Laredo Taft that featured an eerie hooded figure. The statue has haunted Chicago's Graceland Cemetery since 1909. Standing 10 feet tall, the bronze statue draws clear comparisons to the Grim Reaper. The statue has become something of a grotesque tourist attraction in recent years. According to folklore, anyone who looks into the eyes of the hooded bronze figure upon entering the Chicago cemetery will see a vision of their own death. There have even been reports that the statue's arms move throughout the day, often in such a subtle way that passers-by would never notice. At night time, witnesses say that eerie screams can be heard in the vicinity of the statue. Up until the 1970s, a pernicious rumour suggested that the statue wouldn't show up in photographs, adding to its mysterious lore. This theory has obviously been disproven, but it adds another layer of intrigue to the already eerie statue. So is this statue in Chicago's Graceland Cemetery really haunted, or is it just a case of an intricate layering of urban legend? One way to find out for sure is to stare deep into the black veil of the statue and wait for a vision of your own demise. Viewer Ken Criswell sent us this eerie footage. He believes something unusual has taken up residence in his house, and judging by the clip, he might be right. The beginning of the video gives a brief overview of the house where the shadow entity is said to be. Ken explains that the house is only used for storage right now, but is being renovated so that he and his band can practice and record music there. The reason he's walking around with a camera is that he's showing a mate some of the damaged roof that needs repairing.
And then this one, I've got the leak fixed.
For quite some time, Ken and his family have suspected something's off about the house. In the past, two of Ken's bandmates swear they saw an unknown person walk by while they were practicing, but when they looked around the house, there was no one to be found. In the video he sent us, we see Ken filming what needs to be renovated in the house, showing leaks in the ceiling. About 20 seconds after he starts speaking, he turns the camera to face a corridor to the left. See if you can spot anything weird.
That's one spot. And then we got another spot back here.
Viewers can see a very brief glimpse of what seems to be a shadowy figure down the hallway.
That's one spot. And then we got...
Here it is again in slow motion. Ken continues speaking for a couple of minutes about the house, seemingly unaware of the dark figure that seems to be looming in the background.
Now, I have to have a piece of the tin replaced on the roof. And then this one, I've got the leak fixed. But we need to replace the tile on both of them, back there and then this one here. So, oh, and check this out. Look what I saw on the ground.
Here's a still frame of the shadow. It's a solid black anomalous formation. Ken goes on to explain that the basement door was latched shut during the entire video, but the shadowy figure seems to have emerged from the door nonetheless. Family and friends of Ken have had experiences similar to this one, seeing and hearing bizarre and inexplicable sights and sounds. Since filming this footage, he has gone back to the house, where he's heard knocking coming from the basement door. He refuses to open the door and explore the area until he can do something to get rid of the alleged spirit. Viewers have come up with quite a few suggestions, such as saging the house, getting a priest to come and bless the room, or simply selling the house and never looking back. It's clear there's something in this home, but just what kind of presence we still don't know. What kind of vibe are you getting from this strange figure? Let me know in the comments section down below.
That's one spot. And then we got another spot.
In March 2021, YouTubers UrbexMX had an eerie encounter in a cemetery in Mexico. In the video, the group of explorers wander around the eerie graveyard at nighttime.
Compartan, amigos, compartan. Hoy está sobre el panteón. Fuimos a dar un rondín.
It's creepy in its own right, but about 8 minutes into the video is when things take a turn for the worst. One of the explorers notices something and points in the distance.
No mames, güey.
No mames.
¿Dónde?
¿Qué, güey? Espérate, güey. No.
Espérate. Ey, no, vente.
¿Qué?
Es un vato, vente.
No, pero...
¿Qué? Es un vato.
Fíjate, güey. No mames, güey.
Buena.
They wander around the graves, calling out into the night to see if someone or something will respond. What they spot is truly unsettling. Take a look.
Una escalera, güey, se bajaría por esta madre. Bueno, viejón. Ay, güey, trae una madre. Cálmate, cálmate.
A dark and menacing-looking man seems to be resting in an open grave. They call out to the man who sits up in the grave, looking up at the camera.
¿Cómo? Cada vez que venimos, ¿qué? No, pues nomás venimos a transmitir, compa.
They begin to question the man, who claims he was just resting in one of the graves and was doing nothing more.
Cada vez que venimos, ¿qué? No, pues nomás venimos a transmitir, compa.
Oiga, pero...
¿Qué, güey?
The man then stands up and leaves, disappearing into the night.
Tranquilo.
¿Qué onda, viejo? ¿Qué hace ahí? ¿Y ya se va o qué? Ah, güey. Cuidado. Cuidado.
Tranquilo, viejo, no. No voy a agarrar algo, viejo, porque está cabrón.
Agua. Agua. ¿Qué onda, compa?
Oiga, ve.
Viejo, ¿qué hace ahí, viejo? Viejo.
Ya, déjalo acá, no hay pedo.
No, pero hay que guacharlo, güey, capaz y nos rodea.
Viewers were very concerned over the fact that the YouTubers had dared approach the man. They believed that he was up to no good, perhaps even robbing the grave. Other viewers took it a step further and suggested he was performing some kind of ritual in the open grave. And so while nothing paranormal was captured on film, finding a masked man inside a grave in the middle of the night is surely enough to give anyone the chills.
Tranquilo, viejo, no. No voy a agarrar algo, viejo, porque está cabrón.
Agua. Agua. ¿Qué onda, compa?
Oiga, ve.
Viejo, ¿qué hace ahí, viejo? Viejo.
Ya, déjalo acá, no hay pedo.
No, pero hay que guacharlo, güey, capaz y nos rodea.
Facebook user Ben Lewis managed to capture a potential ghostly child playing around the back of Pulteney Street in Corning, New York. The footage was captured on a Wise security camera on the 21st of October, 2020. In the video, we can see a parking lot with a couple of buildings in the background. Immediately in the center of frame is what looks to be a small transparent figure gliding across the ground. According to the Facebook user, it's rumoured that there's a family of ghosts that haunt the neighbourhood. In particular, locals tell of a little girl named Emily. Some say you can hear her laughing or crying at strange hours of the night. Locals believe this is the first hard evidence that her spirit really does haunt the town. This isn't the only chilling tale that haunts the streets of Corning. Just a few miles from where this footage was taken is Lindenwold House, a Victorian-era mansion built in 1877. Originally built to serve Civil War widows, Lindenwold House quickly became a refuge for the homeless, as well as sick and dying elderly residents without close family. The basement of Lindenwold House once housed a crematorium. If a deceased resident didn't have the money for a funeral or had no local family, they would be sent to the basement. It's said that the local government would pay a fee to Lindenwold House for every cremation that took place, preventing further government expense on burials. Over the years, entities have been spotted in the house. People claim they've seen ominous figures staring at them from the upstairs windows, only to vanish seconds later. In 2014, the Elmira Jackals hockey team took up residence in the building as part of a team home program. Rumour has it that they broke lease early because the players were experiencing very weird and very creepy things in the house. Things would go missing, there were footsteps in the attic no one could explain, there were cold spots and disembodied laughing experienced quite often too. These two reports are just a few of the countless recorded hauntings in upstate New York. With so much alleged paranormal activity going on, it makes you wonder if there's something about the area that causes spirits to linger on after death. A Facebook video uploaded by user Ilashiba Michael seems to show something strange hovering near the moon. The video begins with a wide shot where we can see the moon in the sky. The camera then zooms in to get a much clearer and more impressive view. Take a look at what was captured. There seems to be two objects that move just above the surface of the moon. It almost looks like two pieces of floating debris. It could be something floating in our upper atmosphere, and the perspective makes it look like it's floating just above the moon. Commenters had a lot to say about this video. Some brushed it off as CGI, while others were more prone to believing something bigger was at play. A few commenters suggested that these objects could simply be satellites or something similar, while others were sure this clip was proof of aliens. The question then becomes, what do you think? Let me know your theories down below. Is there anything scarier than hearing a blood-curdling scream in the middle of the night? For YouTube user Pinche Macas, the answer is a resounding no. A video captured by the YouTuber shows this exact situation come to life. The video begins by showing security camera footage outside of the viewer's home. We can hear dogs barking in the background. About 10 seconds later, we hear the first hair-raising scream sound out. A few seconds later, the second scream occurs, seemingly from the same individual, though a little shorter this time. The uploader claims this happened at around 12:30 AM. He got out of bed and took a look around but couldn't find anyone around or anything out of place. Seconds later, the second scream happened, yet he still couldn't find the source of the noise. Due to this and the fact that his dogs barked before the screams, the YouTuber's sure this was a ghost wailing into the night. Some paranormal experts believe that animals can often sense ghostly presences, so the dogs may have been able to sense that there was something there. Whatever the scenario, a chilling scream in the middle of the night is unsettling, no matter what. TikTok user JJMC12 uploaded a brief clip that's been creeping out millions of TikTok users with plenty of theories to share. In the clip, we see the TikToker pulling something out of the water. Take a look. The object seems to be some type of skeleton, though it doesn't resemble a fish usually found in the sea. The skeleton has a pink and brownish colour to it and is long and narrow. We can see what seems to be a tiny rib cage and a human-looking head at the end. The TikToker then dumps it back into the water as screams can be heard in the background. The TikToker thought this skeleton might be proof of the existence of mermaids, though other viewers threw around some other ideas. Some thought this could indeed be a sea creature, perhaps even a partially decomposed seahorse. Still, others suggested this could just be a plastic toy that may have deteriorated in the ocean waters. So what do you think this strange video shows? Mini mermaid, seahorse, or just a toy? Throw your theories into the comment hole down below. Many people love hearing and watching rainfall as it brings a rhythmic sense of calm. TikToker Melon's mum Jen uploaded a video that was meant to show a soothing rainstorm. The video, taken from a front door security camera, shows the front of the uploader's yard. We can see rain falling on the pavement for a few moments until something eerie seems to appear in the middle of the frame. As you can see, right next to the lights on the grass in front of the house appears a strange vapour that glides over the pavement and disappears from view. It's a strange little clip that quite a few viewers asked for us to show. While it does look weird, it's most likely just vapor caused by the rain that's reflecting light. However, dozens of commenters weren't so sure, claiming that the vapor could be some kind of spirit caught on film. With the limited information available, you'll have to watch the clip again and take from it what you will. A skeleton scratching on your door. It wasn't just a nightmare for Texas resident John Thompson. An individual dressed in a spooky skeleton mask decided to pay a visit to Thompson's home in the middle of the night, and it was all caught on camera. In the home security camera footage, which was shared to the news outlet WZZM13, we can see the figure in question right in front of the homeowner's door.
The homeowner and neighbors were creeped out. Tonight, they're talking to Eyewitness News reporter.
The person has a smiling skeleton mask on and wears a white cloak. Even creepier, the figure scratches on the door, which can be heard in the video.
Listen closely, and you can hear the scratching.
During an interview, Thompson states that the figure went on to hide around the corner, waiting for someone to open the door. Luckily, the homeowner wasn't home at the time. He believes this was simply a kid pulling a prank, though one of his neighbours thinks this could have been a more severe situation and is now on guard. There's no doubting that the video's terrifying, though it's not easy to know what this person's intentions actually were. Could it have been a teenager pulling a midnight prank, or was this someone with more sinister intentions, hoping to attack the homeowner and break into the house? One of the neighbours interviewed stated that this incident occurred in Texas, where people are quick to draw guns if needed, so this situation could have ended very differently.
I think it could be dangerous, could end up with a different situation if they went to a different house.
In June 2021, paranormal investigators Lalo Escalante decided to search a local cemetery in Culiacan, Mexico. They had heard rumours of strange things happening on the property. Locals often report hearing screams and spot unusual shadowy figures walking through the property late at night. The most unsettling story revolves around a supposed haunted doll that sits in one of the graves. It's said to come alive and move among the tombstones. Under the glow of a full moon, the investigators explore the graveyard.
Güey, es que es luna llena, güey. Es el día que los brujos su trabajo lo hacen efectivo. Es ese día, güey.
For the first 10 minutes or so, the YouTubers appear on edge. They claim to hear strange noises coming from all directions of the cemetery.
¿Alguien ahí? ¿Qué ves? ¿Estás viendo algo? No se cansa de ver nada. Nomás se cansa de ver la luna llena, güey.
After exploring for some time, they come across a mausoleum and look inside to find a tall doll with lengthy blonde hair standing next to a large cross and flowers.
Güey. Ay, la madre. Estoy cagado, güey. Estoy que le recagado, güey.
What happens next is sure to give you the chills. Watch.
Amigos. Eso estaba así. No mames. No mames. Creí que la abrió ella, güey. Pero qué pedo, güey. Esto se abrió sola, cabrón. No mames. La muñeca se movió, Chicho. Chicho se movió, güey, la muñeca, güey. La madre, güey. La madre, güey. Ay, güey. A la mierda.
As you can see, the doll appears to move inside the sealed mausoleum.
La muñeca se movió, Chicho. Chicho se movió, güey, la muñeca, güey. La madre, güey.
There's no doubt about it, viewers have been terrified by this clip. There seems to be no way that the doll could move without the explanation of something otherworldly. To make this incident even scarier, a month prior, a separate group of urban explorers known as Urbex MX captured the exact same doll moving on its own. Take a look.
Da miedo. Mira. Ay, mamacita, se mamón, güey. Se movió, güey. Neta, se movió, güey. No mames. Se movió, güey.
This incident was captured during a live stream. Hundreds of viewers watched in real time as the doll moved inside the mausoleum.
Mira. Ay, mamacita, se mamón, güey. Se movió, güey. Se movió, güey. No mames. Se movió, güey.
So is this graveyard home to restless spirits? And is this doll really possessed by some unknown entity? According to these two separate accounts, it would appear so.
Ay, mamacita, se mamón, güey. Se movió, güey. Neta, se movió, güey.
In Milingimbi in the Northern Territory of Australia, 4 young kids had a strange encounter with an unknown entity. The clip was sent to us by viewer Dallas DH. In the video we can see 3 young boys in the centre of frame. They believe that the cameraman's taking a photo, so they begin to pose, but the cameraman is actually joking around and taking a video. A few moments into the clip, we see something creepy happen. Watch. As you can see at the very bottom right of the frame, a terrifying shadowy figure crawls on the ground right behind the boys. They all scream and begin to run away as the video ends. So what could this strange shadow be? During World War II, the remote area of Milingimbi was bombed in a series of Japanese air raids. 2 people were killed and 15 others injured during the attack. So could this clip show evidence of a lingering spirit? All across the world, in areas affected by war, soldiers and civilians alike have reported seeing strange shadowy figures lurking in their periphery or hiding in the corners of a room. Some paranormal experts believe these shadowy beings are drawn to areas where a tragedy has taken place, feeding on the negative energy. So did these kids encounter an infamous shadow figure? Watch the footage again and judge for yourself. Paranormal places don't just attract ghosts, they also attract the curiosity of paranormal investigators. The YouTube channel Paranormies thrives off spooky locations, attempting to catch as many ghostly sightings and events as possible. In one video shared to the channel, the YouTubers decide to explore a church in St. Elizabeth in Quebec. The tiny community was first established in 1898 and grew over time to encompass several stores and businesses. Over its history, it's seen plenty of tragedy, including the death of several children due to scarlet fever in 1910. A fire in 1918 destroyed the large barn in town that housed nearly 20 horses. Soon after, the town's barber lost his children in an accident involving an explosion of a lamp. There were additional deaths due to other fires and floodings in the decades that followed, leading many to speculate that ghosts haunt the area. The video follows the 2 YouTubers exploring the area's only church. They come across a noose hanging from the ceiling while exploring the uppermost part of the church.
Look how high it goes up here.
While inspecting the noose, they hear disembodied voices, almost like a man moaning from downstairs. They head back down, only to see their motion sensor doll going off about 100 feet away, suggesting nearby activity.
Whoa. Whoa. Dude. There's no way. That was not us. Turn the mics on. Okay.
After some more exploring, the YouTubers decide to set up a camera in the room with the noose. As they're doing so, their EVP picks up what sounds like a British man saying the word worth.
Right here?
The video then cuts to a close-up of both YouTubers' hands on a planchette attempting to talk to any present spirits.
So you need to move this planchette.
You just say yes. Just move it to yes.
Then the camera in the newsroom appears to capture the sounds of footsteps. We're then brought back to the two men speaking to possible spirits. Suddenly, a loud sound can be heard.
Oh, dude, that scared me.
Hello? Hello?
The investigators later find that a ladder inexplicably fell over while they were interacting with the Ouija board. The final scene of the video finds the two men back in the newsroom. One of them sits down, undergoing sensory deprivation.
Sight.
Was that you that knocked the ladder over downstairs?
The cameraman asks some questions.
Why are you here?
After about 30 seconds, something truly terrifying happens. Watch.
Why are you staying here? Why are you staying here? Dude, go. I can't see. Grab the light.
The YouTuber's beanie is slowly pulled back by an invisible force.
Dude, go. I can't see. Grab the light.
In response, the two men jump up and run out of the room.
Why are you staying here? Dude, go. I can't see. Grab the light.
Thousands of viewers of this video have been stunned by the beanie being pulled backwards. Many took it as a sign that the spirit or spirits of the church were starting to get upset and decided to spook the boys in order to get them out of the building.
Dude, go.
The community's history is certainly interesting and riddled with death, so perhaps it's no surprise the church is filled with such frightening incidents. If this footage is genuine, it would have to be one of the most startling paranormal encounters ever caught on film.
Why are you staying here? Dude, go. I can't see. Grab the light. Dude.
People associate many things with K-pop, catchy songs, flashy outfits, and die-hard fans to name a few. But what about the paranormal? Viewers noticed something very mysterious occurring in a YouTube video uploaded by NCT Daily that shows NCT members Mark and Yuta enjoying a meal at a restaurant. What was supposed to be a cute vlog turned into something that's making many people scratch their heads. The first few minutes of the video show the two K-pop members arriving at the restaurant, ordering their meal and chatting about various things. Everything seems normal until one of the members mentions there's things happening in the world that are hard to explain. This quickly leads to a discussion on aliens and whether they exist either on Earth or in the universe as a whole. Soon, the conversation turns to other topics, but that's when something strange happens. Take a look. The fork in front of Mark suddenly slowly moves backwards on its own and tumbles down to the floor. Mark looks down confused, asking Yuta if he had somehow pushed the fork. Yuta denies this, equally confused, but the boys just shrug it off and move on. What makes this video strange is the fact that the boys have been talking about otherworldly things right before the incident happened. Could they somehow have conjured up a mysterious force who decided to make themselves known by moving the fork? Or is it all just a prank, as many think? There's no clear answer, but there's no denying this is certainly a very strange moment indeed. A vehicle arriving out of nowhere, picking up no passengers and seeming to vanish into thin air. It sounds like something right out of the Twilight Zone. For Slaptown viewers Lynn and Brittany M, this situation turned into a reality, with a limo captured on film outside their apartment late one night. The limo was not seen arriving nor leaving from any other camera in the complex, and no one claimed to have ordered a limo service that late at night, chilling out all who viewed the clip. We see CCTV footage of the parking lot outside of the viewer's apartment building. In the background, we can see the limo in question appear and slowly drive up the parking lot. It's what happens next that has left the tenants of this apartment complex creeped out. Watch. As the vehicle turns, it seems to disappear completely, with the rest of the parking lot remaining completely quiet. The tenants emphasise that the complex has about 20 cameras on the property that are motion activated, making it extra bizarre that the limo was not caught anywhere else. So how is it a car of this size could somehow disappear without a trace, and how is it not seen anywhere else on the property? Until this limo is spotted again or more info comes to hand, this strange incident will have to remain a complete mystery. Orbs have been a source of debate in the paranormal community for as long as anyone can remember. Are these floating balls of light really spirits? Slaptown viewer Stacey W. from Memphis, Tennessee shared footage taken in her home, featuring a potential orb that is sure to arise speculation among viewers. The footage shows Stacey's kitchen at nighttime. Immediately, we can see the little orb of light dancing around the kitchen, first moving towards the refrigerator, where it seems to bounce around before moving back to the center of frame. The orb continues to move around for the rest of the video, occasionally disappearing from frame only to reappear once again. Stacey explained that she first spotted the orb when checking a security camera alert on her phone that showed activity in the kitchen. She saw that her children were sneaking in a late night snack and that an orb seemed to be floating around in the space near them. She asked her children to go back to bed but noticed the orb still remained. She went to the kitchen to see if she could see anything in person, but there was nothing there, though she felt a strange presence in the air before leaving. At times during the video, it seems that the orb could actually be a spider web caught in front of the security camera's lens. This sometimes happens with security cameras, giving the impression that there's an orb when it's actually just an insect floating around. Still, the possible orb's movements are very erratic, throwing into doubt this theory, and leaving the mystery open for all to interpret. Let me know what you think down below. An apartment is supposed to be a home, a place to take comfort in after a long day. Unfortunately for TikToker Bunny Squid 95, the new apartment she moved into with her fiancé above a decrepit house is far from comforting. Instead, the videos she's shared display quite the opposite. In the first clip, the TikToker explains that it's midnight and that she's just heard some strange noises.
Hey guys, it's 12 o'clock in the morning and I heard some weird noises.
She moves the camera around and we can see objects falling around her.
12 o'clock in the morning and I heard some weird noises. Jesus Christ, oh my god.
In the second clip, the TikToker is in the kitchen and tells viewers that she went to turn the light on when more weird things began to happen.
Okay, so I just got up to turn the light on and there's still... Okay, and yeah, okay.
We can see a cupboard door open on its own, a magnet falls from the fridge, and something drops from the kitchen counter.
And yeah, okay. Yeah, there's still weird happening. Okay, goodbye.
The final clip finds the TikTok user explaining that the fan in her apartment is just a regular oscillating fan. Some viewers of previous videos had speculated that her fan could be the instigator of all the abnormal activity, but she denies this. She whips the camera around to face the kitchen where objects on the counter budge.
So I was going to just record and see what.
She continues to explain that most of the activity happens in the kitchen, and as she does so, more objects ruffle around.
Activity is centered mostly in my kitchen.
Soon after, we can hear the sound of an object falling nearby.
Yeah, a lot of weird stuff happens down there too.
Viewers had plenty of suggestions. One speculated that this could be the ghost of a cat, as the objects seemed to be knocked over as if played with by a small animal. Others thought that this was indeed a ghostly spirit that wanted to mess with the new apartment renters in order to get them to leave. People suggested that the woman sage her apartment, or perhaps even call a priest for help. So what do you guys think? Love to get your opinions on this one in the comments section below.
Record and see what. What happened?
If you walk around Boston's North End on a hot summer day, some say you can still catch the sickly sweet scent left lingering after a tragic day that took place just over 100 years ago. In 1919, a deluge that can only be described as a molasses tsunami erupted from Purity Distilling Company before ploughing right through Boston's commercial street on a busy January afternoon. The wave froze its victims in place by trapping them under a hard, unyielding veil of amber-coloured suffocation. There was no warning, other than a soft, muffled roar in the seconds before more than 2 million gallons of ultra-thick, ultra-sticky molasses overtook the streets. The deluge tore through Commercial Street to take down trucks, overturn wagons, ruin buildings, and push a train from the tracks. Witnesses who were caught up in the chaos of the day reported seeing sticky, molten waves that were 30 feet tall barreling past them at 35 miles per hour. Sadly, 21 people perished during the event. Another 150 people were injured during the Molasses Flood. The aftermath was so severe that both the Navy and Red Cross arrived to help rescue survivors, amid a gooey, sticky post-apocalyptic scene that required effort to pull the victims from their hardened tombs. In the initial aftermath of the tragedy, the molasses flood was blamed on anarchists sabotaging the molasses storage tanks inside Purity Distilling Company to create a roaring, rippling explosion. However, further investigation began to point to poorly built and maintained tanks. The likely cause of the explosion was a buildup of pressure within the factory's molasses tanks that simply couldn't be contained by the walls of the building. Civil lawsuits against Purity Distilling Company stemming from the incident lasted until 1925. History never quite put a lid on the molasses flood, however. In recent years, scientists have been revisiting Boston's great molasses tragedy to make sense of how it all happened. Ultimately, we may finally have an answer to why something as sweet as molasses can turn so deadly. Modern researchers speculate that a shipment of molasses that arrived from the warm Caribbean, meeting with the freezing temperatures of a Boston January, helped to create the perfect recipe for disaster. The reason why the molasses was so deadly once it was in motion was that the liquid hardened as it moved. As a result, people became unable to escape being trapped by a wave that was hardening in real time. A television program that aired on BBC One on Halloween night of 1992 still has people questioning if what they saw was real 30 years after the fact. This program was so sensational and controversial that it never aired in the United Kingdom ever again. Ghostwatch was a 90-minute horror film shot in a documentary style that was inspired by the tale of the Enfield poltergeist. Its subject matter was a haunted home in a London area called Northolt, where a family was being harassed by a terrifying poltergeist named Pipes. The premise was essentially to debunk the claims of children who insisted that strange sounds in their home were caused by ghosts in real time. During the program, the audience was invited to call in with their own ghost stories as they watched along to shaky camera footage from a handheld video camera. In reality, the documentary was a professional production, full of footage that had been shot weeks in advance. Viewers were left to play along, as the program's host sat with a supposed paranormal expert to determine whether the family on the screen was genuinely being harassed by violent spirits through a barrage of banging noises, moving objects, and claw marks. Of course, everyone on the screen was part of an elaborate cast of child and adult actors. Ghostwatch had such a profound psychological impact on viewers that the BBC received more than 30,000 calls from angry, scared members of the public. The British press was highly critical of the disturbing nature of the program. Many claimed that the program didn't do enough to identify itself as a piece of fiction. Sadly, the program led to the suicide of a young viewer, whose parents claimed he became hypnotized by the program after becoming convinced that the ghost depicted in the program was indeed real. Medical journals have even published several cases of post-traumatic stress disorder being induced in young children who watched Ghostwatch. This may be a case where there's good reason to avoid ever talking about this bizarre piece of television history ever again. It has cropped up in horror anthologies that are sold or aired outside of the United Kingdom from time to time. If you've ever seen Ghostwatch, would love to hear about it in the comments section below. Some events are so bizarre and impossible to explain that the collective subconscious of society tries to wipe the memory clean. However, the memory of the Beast of Jevodan still prowls the French countryside that was terrorized centuries ago. Deep in the Margeride Mountains of France, a series of attacks that took place between 1764 and 1767 by man-eating beasts with razor-sharp teeth created fear and terror. According to reports, more than 600 attacks resulted in 500 deaths and 49 injuries. The beast had a habit of attacking lone men, women, and children as they tended to livestock on the outskirts of town. Curiously, there were several reports of the beast being killed before the attacks officially stopped. From the modern lens, the most likely cause of the attacks was not a supernatural being at all. During the 1700s, wolf attacks posed serious problems throughout Europe. The high death count associated with the Beast of Jevodan likely points to the idea that packs of wolves were causing chaos in France's Margeride Mountains before being scared off by wolf hunters searching for the supernatural beast. One theory that has floated around is that the creature was actually a red-coloured mastiff, wearing the hide of a boar that was sired by a villager named Jean Chastel. Notably, Chastel was a farmer and innkeep in Jevodan in France, who was credited with killing the Beast of Jevodan in Montmouchet during the summer of 1767. A 2001 French film called Brotherhood of the Wolf that centered on the legend features Chastel as a character. However, some people have reviewed the ghastly incidents and have wondered whether wolves could have caused so much death and chaos. So the question remains whether something a little more sinister was stalking the Margeride Mountains all those years ago. This one will make you want to run out to the car and check your windshield. In the spring of 1954, more than 3,000 windshields in the Seattle area experienced mysterious unexplained pitting. Police initially blamed the blemishes on vandals. However, the pitting became so widespread that it became clear no criminal could work quite so swiftly. It wasn't long before reports of the pitting hit the mainstream news. A number of theories were floated around that spring. One was that the nearby Jim Creek Naval Radio Station was producing waves with a new 1,000,000-watt radio transmitter that was powerful enough to impact the physical properties of glass. Another was that cosmic rays were shooting down over the Washington area. A tamer theory was simply that sand fleas were burrowing into the glass. Most mysterious of all was that the pitting abruptly stopped on April 17 of that year. The windshield pitting epidemic is one mystery that has never quite been solved. However, one theory that is being pitted against all others is simply that this was a case of mass hysteria. For those who subscribe to this theory, all it took for the hysteria to take off was one person noticing pitting on their windshield. That person then shared their observation with others. The fact of the matter is that a good amount of natural pitting occurs on windshields due to the general rocks and debris that exist on our roads. Once stories about pitting made the news, many people throughout the area looked for pitting on their own windshields for the first time. This led to a huge spike in reports over something that had actually been there the entire time. It's highly possible that the pitting abruptly stopped because people simply lost interest in the story after a few weeks. This next forgotten tidbit of history was widespread enough that it touched royalty. During the Middle Ages, there was a recorded widespread psychiatric disorder that caused people to believe that they were made of glass. People afflicted with the fear lived in terror of shattering to pieces at any minute. King Charles VI of France was famously so afflicted by this preoccupation that he refused to allow people to touch him out of fear that he would shatter. He also supposedly wore special protective clothing. The glass delusion was so prevalent that it was mentioned in the works of famous authors like Miguel de Cervantes, Constantine Huygens, René Descartes, and John Locke. From today's lens, the fear of being made of glass can be seen as a manifestation of anxiety. It's not all that wild to consider that people had lots of anxiety regarding physical well-being and death during a time of disease and pestilence back in the Middle Ages. While the idea of shattering like glass is an obvious manifestation of a fear of death, it's very likely that the fear of falling apart if touched was a subconscious protective measure against catching illnesses. This forgotten piece of horror from history dates back to July 25th of 1184 in what would be modern-day Germany. A number of nobles from throughout the Holy Roman Empire had gathered in Erfurt for a meeting across from the Church of St. Peter, as part of King Henry VI's attempt to neutralise a feud between Archbishop Conrad of Mainz and Louis III, Landgrave of Thuringia. During the meeting, the weight of the crowd caused the wooden floor in the hall to collapse directly into the latrine beneath it. During the horrifying event, more than 60 nobles and meeting attendees were sent to their deaths to drown in suffocating liquid excrement. Among the dead nobles were Frederick von Abenberg, Heinrich von Schwarzburg, Heise Gottsmar von Ziegenhain, Burkhard von Wartburg, and Frederick von Kirchberg. Many of the survivors avoided getting sucked into the foul pit by clinging to the rails and windows until rescuers could arrive. By luck, King Henry's positioning within a stone alcove allowed him to be spared. During the 16th and 17th centuries, artists had a very colourful way of sourcing a special brown pigment that was a favourite of the famed pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood that included English authors like William Holman Hunt, John Everett Millais, Thomas Woolner, Frederick George Stevens, Dante Gabriel Rossetti, William Michel Rossetti, and James Collinson. The hue was a mix that fell somewhere between burnt umber and raw umber that happened to have an especially good consistency for fleshy tones and shadows. However, it wasn't necessarily the colour of this pigment that made it so striking. What really stands out about this hue is the way it was sourced. Mummy brown was comprised of white pitch, myrrh, and the actual remains of Egyptian mummies. Both human and feline remains were used. In some cases, the ground-up remains were sourced from the Guanche mummies of the Canary Islands instead of Egyptian mummies. Mummy brown was so in demand during its heyday that the need for it often outpaced the available supply of authentic Egyptian mummies. This led to some interesting practices among suppliers. In many cases, mummy sellers substituted modern-day corpses of slaves and criminals for genuine mummy remains. The demand for mummy brown eventually died down significantly by the start of the 20th century. In fact, it had essentially dried up by 1900. Artists looking to experiment on canvas with mummy brown today can still use formulas that recreate the same hue without being sourced from actual remains. Today's mummy brown is made from kaolin, quartz, geothite and hematite, a somewhat more palatable mix. YouTuber Steph's Basement 89 created her channel in an effort to show viewers the strange things that occur in her house, which she believes to be haunted. She notes that the majority of the paranormal activity seems to be focused in the basement. In fact, even while introducing her channel, the YouTuber is suddenly caught off guard when she and her cameraman both see a strange figure standing in the doorway.
It's mostly in the basement, but... Right? Which I feel like I just saw someone standing in the doorway, and so did he. No one, right?
Unable to find an earthly explanation for what they saw, this footage provides an appropriately eerie introduction to the other videos that showcase the supposed ghostly activity in the house. In one of the channel's earliest videos, Steph records her dog's strange behavior.
She's down here in the basement, just obsessing over this closet door.
She notes that the dog is ordinarily very friendly and excited to see her when she arrives home. On this day, however, the dog is focused on a closed closet door in the basement and seems to ignore Steph completely.
Came home, which is very weird. Bella. She's not even answering to her name.
The dog stares at the closet with a laser focus until Steph opens the door to show that there's nothing inside.
See, baby, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing in there, crazy lady.
Many people believe that animals are more attuned to the spiritual world and are therefore able to sense things that we can't. Does this footage prove that those theories are correct? In another video, the uploader attempts to record a friend playing an electric drum set. However, as the camera pans past the open closet door, it seems to have inadvertently captured something chilling. Take a look.
Michelle's getting really good at the drums. So you might have some competition when you get back. We love you. We'll see you soon.
As you can see, there appears to be a creepy, pale figure standing in the darkened closet. Because the light is dim, it's difficult to make out the figure's features in any great detail. However, it's clearly human in shape, standing completely still inside the dark closet, watching the unsuspecting residents as they go about their activities.
Michelle's getting really good at the drums. So you might have some competition when you get back. We love you. We'll see you soon.
Could it be possible that this eerie figure is the cause of all the paranormal activity occurring in the basement? Since the closet seems to have some sort of paranormal presence surrounding it, the YouTuber decides to set up a camera to monitor the area. It isn't long until the closet door appears to open all on its own. Seemingly spooked, we can see a woman run past the camera. Mysteriously, after this video was released, the channel suddenly went silent. So what could have happened to this YouTuber? Did something sinister befall them? Or perhaps the paranormal activity simply stopped? For now, the fate of those residing in Steph's basement remains a complete mystery.
Michelle's getting really good at the drums. So you might have some competition when you get back. We love you. We'll see you soon.
This video seems to show that not everyone who experiences supernatural activity is actually aware of it. In the clip, we see an unlucky man seemingly stalked by a shadowy apparition without even noticing that it's there. The footage appears to have been captured on a security camera set up to monitor a loading dock. It's late at night and we can see a trucker backing up his rig. He pulls the truck into the shadowy area, gets out and walks away. On first glance, nothing seems that unusual. However, if you look closely at the man, you can notice that a large dark shadow follows him from his vehicle and across the street. While the shadow is much darker and more pronounced than one might expect in such dim light, it seems logical that this is his shadow. However, if you go back to the beginning of the video before the truck even parks, you can clearly see that the dark figure is actually already in the loading bay. The shadow lurks in the dim light, waiting for the man to get out of his truck. Then, as the man passes the spot where it hides, it seems to attach itself to him. At one point, the man even looks behind as if he senses he's being followed. This behaviour is thought to be common for the type of entity known as a shadow person. It's said that these beings can only be seen from the corner of our eyes, giving us a sense that something's watching us from the darkness. Some people believe that shadow people are mostly harmless, but others are certain that these entities are dangerous. Some even think that these beings could be manifestations from another dimension. Whatever the explanation, the man in this video would be wise to be on guard, as this shadowy figure seems to have taken a keen interest in him. It isn't unusual for a young child to have an imaginary playmate that only they can see. Most parents simply attribute them to the child's overactive imagination. However, according to TikToker elkakui.tv, imaginary friends might not always be harmless products of a child's imagination. The father in the video recently moved into a new home with his daughter, and the two supposedly live alone. According to the video's caption, the young girl often points to an empty white chair, indicating that there's someone sitting there. In the video, when the girl is asked about the person in the chair, she becomes visibly scared, hiding her face and crying while pointing towards the chair. While this certainly seems a little creepy, a later clip appears to show something far more chilling. As the child plays, she begins pointing to the opposite side of the room. Her father pans the camera around, attempting to capture whatever it is that's causing the child's distress. A few moments into the clip, the culprit seemingly reveals itself when a stuffed toy topples to the floor. Things get even scarier when the toy is suddenly dragged into the shadows beneath the dresser by some sort of invisible force. It's unclear what could be causing these strange occurrences in the young family's home. However, the toy dragged beneath the dresser suggests that a poltergeist could be responsible. Poltergeists are often said to be the only type of spirit with the ability to move physical objects. Some poltergeists are thought to be content with playful mischief, but others could be dangerous. Based on the toddler's reaction to what she sees, this particular entity could certainly be something to fear. Wooded areas seem to be a common location for creepy things to lurk. In this case, a video shared to Reddit by user Nimrose has viewers debating whether the lurker is a man, animal, or something far more sinister. The footage was supposedly shot in Sweden, where the poster can be seen walking to a bus stop near her apartment complex. The area has some trees and other foliage, but is still close enough to a populated area that the woman appears to feel safe enough to walk through it. However, on this particular night, it seems she may have felt uneasy, as she obviously decided to pull out her camera to record her trip. Upon first watch, the video doesn't obviously reveal anything too creepy, though eagle-eyed viewers might be able to spot the culprit. Take a look.
Den här veckan och jag undrar vad han kommer ställa för diagnos på mig. Och alltså...
Upon a second viewing, you can see the woman continues deeper into the wooded area, but suddenly an eerie figure can be seen peering out from behind one of the trees. It has a pale white face, a long nose, and glowing eyes. The figure is unlikely to be a person, as human eyes don't reflect light in this way. Some viewers believe that the face is that of an animal. However, the poster notes that the area is too small to be home to any animal as large as the figure seen in the video. What other explanation could there be for this mysterious figure then? Viewers have suggested everything from ghosts and demons to some sort of unknown cryptid. But what do you think it is? Love to hear your opinions on this strange bit of footage in the comments section below.
Diagnos på mig och alltså det är så jävla.
Over the last few years, urban exploration has become very popular. YouTubers like Adient GPT find old abandoned places to explore, hoping to come across something creepy or paranormal to share with their followers. This footage certainly doesn't disappoint. The video was shot while the YouTuber was exploring an abandoned building in Bandung, Indonesia. The structure appears to be completely deserted as he walks around, the only light coming from his camera. Several minutes into his search, something terrifying happens. Take a look. As you can see, just as the light of the camera illuminates a dark doorway, we can clearly see a figure in a white dress. The figure begins to ascend into the air, disappearing through the ledge above. The YouTuber believes that the entity he spotted is a kuntilanak, a female spirit that can be vengeful and dangerous. They are said to sometimes drink the blood of men who encounter them. They supposedly emerge during a full moon, and their appearance is often preceded by animalistic noises or the sound of a woman's laughter. It's said that she can only be killed by plunging a nail into the top of her head. Understandably, viewers have been disturbed by the figure's ghostly appearance. If the stories of this creature's desire to feed on the blood of men are true, then this YouTuber should consider himself very lucky to have escaped the building unscathed. Ouija boards can be purchased all over the world and are often marketed as harmless toys. However, after watching this video from the YouTube channel Haunting Jersey, you might think twice before playing around with one. The clip shows a young girl chatting with a friend via a video call.
She's in Canada, I'm in New Jersey.
She uses the camera to record herself performing several gymnastic moves, then asks her friend to do the same.
Wait, now your turn.
However, while preparing to do her next move, something eerie is caught on camera. Take a look. As you can see, she's suddenly interrupted when a paper towel holder flies off the countertop. The shocked girl discusses what just occurred with her friend. Then moments later, something else is caught on camera. Watch. A ceramic mug or bowl suddenly flies off the counter and smashes onto the ground below. The young girl runs off camera, quite scared. While these two occurrences are creepy in their own right, there is another strange phenomenon caught on camera. At around the 1 minute mark, just before the clip ends, a dark blur briefly appears on the right-hand side of the screen. It's only visible for a moment, but if we slow it down, it almost looks like a shadowy hand. The video's description notes that it wasn't until after playing around with a Ouija board that the creepy things began to happen. Could the uploader have accidentally summoned some sort of supernatural entity into their house? Watch the footage again and judge for yourself.
Whatever, it's fine. Okay, anyway.
Living in a haunted house would certainly be no joke, and YouTuber Sabia L seems to make this very clear in their videos. In this series of clips, we see a variety of bizarre events taking place in their home in the Netherlands. In fact, there have been so many strange occurrences that several viewers have even recommended that they send for the help of a priest. In the first video, the camera begins focused on a mantle above the fireplace. Suddenly, a clock begins to move. It slides around for a few seconds before crashing to the floor. The homeowner then hears a strange noise behind them, turning the camera towards a set of shelves. After recording for a few seconds, a cup can be seen clattering to the floor. It continues to roll around as if being manipulated by some sort of unseen force. In another video, we see the lights flickering on and off, seemingly all on their own. There are at least 2 lamps in the room and both turn on and off without anyone standing nearby. What makes this scene even creepier is that, as the lights flicker, the voice of a little girl can be heard whispering in Dutch. Translated, she says, "Leave, and you don't belong here." Viewers believe that it could be possible that a young girl died tragically in the home and remains there in a ghostly state of confusion and anger. They encourage the homeowner to do some research on the property, as identifying the potential spirit may help to uncover the reason why it's lingering there. Now, if you enjoy these longer episodes, then check out our previous compilations. There's one right there. Otherwise, you can binge on our giant paranormal playlists right here as well. Now leave us a comment down below which one of these clips you thought was the scariest or weirdest. We love getting your feedback. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time.